Alright guys, so I'm doing a little video here on making an IPA. It's ended up going to be a dry hopped IPA from an extract kit, but you see I got my propane tank, my burner, pot, which I'm boiling 2.5 gallons in right now as the recipe calls for. So once that gets to a nice rolling boil, I'll let that boil for a few minutes, get my spoon in there, my big old brewing spoon here, sanitize it up. Then I got my hops. As you can see, I always got a home brew. This is a pale ale I made a while back. My 3 hops, 2 are going to be 60-minute complete, and one's going to be a 5-minute before the end, which I'll video. Got my dried malt extract over here, and then over here I have sitting in the sun my extract, 6 pounds of Pilsen. That is going to go once I get this up to a boil here. Get up to a boil. It's just at a nice rolling boil. So let that boil up for a minute, sanitize, get my spoon in there, turn off the heat, crank it back, get the stuff in there, crank it back up again, and we'll get going. I'll record that here. Alright, so the water's been boiling here for a couple minutes, so we should be good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the heat. And then, so that's to prevent scorching. I'm going to add all this good stuff, but I gotta mix it, so I'll tune you guys back in a second. Alright, so as you guys can see, I got that all in there, and I started nice while I was doing it. Now, before I turn the heat back on, we'll get the dried malt extract in there. Alright, so now we're gonna take our DME here and add it to it. So to prevent scorching, you want to pour and stir at the same time, but it's just me, so I'm gonna do a little bit. Get it in there and then stir it, but there's no heat on there at the time right now, so we should be alright. There's no heat. Make sure you get it all, because that's all your good stuff there. Chunk up a little bit. Stir it up in there real good. And then I'm going to stir this in, get the heat back going to a boil, and then we'll move on. So once this returns to a boil, we're going to dump in for the whole 60-minute boil the 1 ounce of Columbus pellets. So once that gets back up to a boil, I'm going to let it boil for like a minute or two, and then I'm going to throw in this Columbus. Water's just starting to boil, as you can see, it's bubbling up. So I just added the Columbus hops. This is going to boil for the whole 60 minutes. So just stir this a little bit. Once it gets rolling boil, you should be alright. So now that I got this to a nice boil here, I'm going to let it do its thing, and then 5 minutes before the end of the boil, I'm going to add the other ounce of Cascade and Centennial? Yeah, Centennial and Cascade. And one thing I like to do, let me just boil over here. Let me turn down, heat down a little bit, so we don't get a boil over. One thing you do have to be careful is boil over. You do not want to get a boil over, so you just got to maintain it. I just lowered the heat. So one thing I like to do is, see all this gunk here that builds up? It's the hops. So what I like to do, it's from the foam, is I like to get some of the hot wort up and just knock it off back down into the beer. That's all the goodness. So that's what I do. Alright guys, so while that's boiling there, as you can see, before we get to the last 5 minutes where we add our last 2 hop additions. One thing I should say is, got my Star Sand out. I mixed it up in my fermenter here, and I've been swishing it around periodically, and I'll do that throughout the boil. Just I make sure everything is super clean. I'm just like picky when it comes to that. But inside of there, I got the airlock and the top to the airlock inside there, sitting inside the Star Sand. And like every 10 minutes, so I just pick it up, I swirl it around, make sure I get it on the lid, you know, flip it over, make sure the lid's good to go. That way, when I'm done with the beer, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pour it right in. I have to sanitize it then. Just something I do ahead of time. Alright guys, so as you can see, we still got a nice boil here. We got 5 minutes left in the boil. 5 minutes! Got my fermenter right there with some Star Sand in it. Been mixing it periodically. We got to add our last 2 hop additions. We're going to do the Cascade here. As you can see, this is 1 ounce of pellet. Dump all that goodness right in there. So these are going to boil for the last 5 minutes. Make sure you get all that good stuff out of there. So that there. We're going to take our Centennial, 1 ounce as well. Make sure you get all that in there. And these are going to boil for the last 5 minutes. And as you can see here, I'm going to keep an eye on these for the last 5 minutes. Make sure I get them stirred in real good. And then we'll be ready to go to put it in the fermenter there. I got the airlock inside there as well, so it's getting nice and sanitized. So we're almost done here. A few more minutes. Look at that. Wish you guys could smell this right now. I know you can't, but I can, and it smells delicious. Oh, and this beer I'm going to dry hop. I'm going to dry hop 2 ounces of Cascade in there, so this should be tasty. Alright, and here we have the final product. Got it cooled down to room temperature here, pitch the yeast, and now it'll sit. You can already see a little bit of pressure starting to push down on the airlock there, but it should be bubbling pretty good by tomorrow. I'll check in then, but there it is. 5 gallons of nice IPA. 2 weeks I'll dry hop it, and then a week after that we'll get it in some bottles. So we're about 24 hours into the ferment. As you can see, bubbling away nice. So I'll check back in with you guys when we're ready to dry hop, and then we'll go from there.